Toledo, we're famous for glass, Art Tatum, Tony Pacos, Jamie Farr, a world-class museum, the Toledo Mud Hens and Wildlife, an outstanding zoo and public library system. But who are the people that make our city so great? Welcome to the Soul of the Glass City podcast. I'm your host, Monique. There are some people that I feel like I've had to chase down to get them on my podcast. And this is one of those people, because not only is she the busiest woman I know, but she is like one of the most productive women I know. I actually feel like she is me in another lifetime because she took the path that I think I wanted to take. But now that I see how hard it is, I think I'm cool. I'm here with Sonia Flunder-McNair.
Thank you for that intro.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. This is a time where we can ground ourselves and just have a quick conversation. And
about how awesome you are, because that's what this is
you
about.
You too. I'm just glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So the question that I always ask everybody when they come, the first thing that everybody wants to know is, where are you from?
I'm born and raised in Toledo, Ohio, ma'am.
Okay.
This is my home. I was born in the Junction community, the community that I serve. And so it was just natural for me to find a space to invest in and make better. So the area that I work in is the area that I was born and raised in.
Really? So where did you where'd you grow up exactly
So I grew up actually down the street from Tatum Park.
Okay.
Off of City Park Avenue on Wabash. Wabash sits right behind Dale Funeral Home. So it's a very small street. And I went to Gunkel, of course. And it was just a rich community full of people that loved each other, loved the community, and it's still like that today.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Did you leave at all to go to college or anything?
I did not. I did not leave to go to college or anything. I started off as a mom early. I went to some college, and I just felt that motherhood was the first thing that was my most important job. So I gave all of my time to my kids. And I now am living the life that I probably should have lived back before I had kids. But I feel that this is the perfect order.
I agree with that. So tell me, your work combines urban agriculture with youth workforce development and herbal product formulation. Can you explain how these elements work together to create a sustainable economic pathway for underserved communities?
Yes. So my work intersects with, like you said, agriculture, workforce development, and we grow skills. Skills is where it's at. When I had an opportunity to talk to children when I first started, and they told me that they were interested in learning skills, that's where my focus went to. The value-added product is to teach kids how to not just grow tomatoes, but to make salsa or your tomato paste. So the innovation in farming is what I like to teach, and it gives kids an outlet to entrepreneurship.
Nice, nice. You've developed the Urban Agriculture and Herbalism curriculum. What inspired you to create this, and what do you hope that the youth and adults take away from this training?
So I saw a gap. I started really teaching this during the pandemic 2020, and I saw that children, not just children, but adults were disconnected from land and ownership, land and healing. We find healing in some places that are not related to nature, and I wanted to also teach that. I wanted to teach product formulation, to teach how do you care for yourself and your families. It's a sustainable pipeline for not just entrepreneurship, but to take us back to the old ways of using plant medicine for wellness.
As a holistic health counselor myself that isn't practicing, I love
Yes.
it.
Yes.
You've been a strong advocate for policy changes, having testified before Ohio Senate on SB 134 and SB 120. How do you see these bills influencing the future of non-traditional farming systems and youth agricultural programs?
So I want to briefly explain what those bills are. So the Senate Bill 120 by Senator Paula Hicks Hudson,
who was also a guest on the show.
Nice. She's a wealth of knowledge. So whenever you have the opportunity, it's a pleasure. What she did was created a bill, and not without talking to us. She came many, many times to talk to me, our youth that have been serving for years, to actually understand what was needed, what was the barriers in building a farm within the city. So the bill recognizes farming in the city and not just rural areas. It validates our work. So to create a small farm or a food hub within a community, and for it to be recognized just as impactful as a rural farmer, it was planned. It was an agenda to put you far away from your food source. And it disconnected children and us from farmers and where food actually comes from. So we have to get back to what really sustains our community. And food is green. We all see green, right? Regardless of where we lie politically. But we all need food. And to keep Ohio one of the biggest producers in agriculture, water sources, we have to raise the next generation of producers.
I agree. Urban farming and agriculture can often be overlooked in cities, as you said. What do you believe is the biggest misconception about urban farming, and how do you work to change that perception in Toledo and beyond?
I want, even though I only post all the good stuff, I want everybody to know that it is not a hobby. It is not easy. It is working against something that was not meant to be. So if you have a system that was set up for farms to be outside of the city, you have to create not just the farm, but the policies, the resources, the connections that will make it easy for the kids that I'm teaching. I don't want them to go through the same things I went through. So the misconception is that it's an easy job.
I don't think it's easy, not from what I've seen in that farm. So through your work with Sonia Organics and Urban Wholistics, you built a strong connection between agriculture and community empowerment. And we can hear that all in your voice and what you're saying to us. How do you measure the success of your programs, and what kind of impact have you seen in the neighborhoods that you've served?
Well, in the neighborhood that I'm serving, I'm seeing partnerships with neighbors. We always find that it's kind of a success story when we can say all the big orgs or the big businesses that we ended up working with to create change. But this change is sustainable and it's holistic. So when you see your neighbors wanting to be a part, when you see them wanting to learn or becoming a part of the org, that is how I measure community success. I also measure success by what I shared earlier. We have been leasing land for almost 10 years, and now we're landowners.
Yay.
So to be a part of the 2% that I always try and remind people that I represent, 2% is a very, very, very small number of USDA farmers that represent minorities. I hear people all the time jokingly saying that they are ready for their respirations and their land and their mules. And if you actually get it,
do you know how to use it?
What are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
So this is an invite for people to take over some of those empty spaces that become hot spots or spaces in the community that can be dumping grounds or unsafe spaces for kids passing to school. Be okay with being the solution all on your own, because when you start, help will come around.
How many like programs are you doing right now? Like I know you're in schools. I know you have the home and the farm. Like how many programs are you like doing?
So it's funny you ask, because I just had a meeting to talk about this before you, and we are running at least 4 or 5 different programs. And so the work, like I said, is going to be recognized on the state level with the House bill, but we also have been invited with Central State University to the Washington, D.C. to talk further on the federal level about how urban farms can be impactful. And I'm really looking forward to that. So how you measure our success is the growth.
I know you guys do stuff with children in the community. And so when you got the home that is now your home, you're teaching kids in the house now versus like going to the schools. Is that like better? Is it different? Like
it's I would say it's a I wouldn't call it better, but I would say the kids need hands-on experience. You can teach farming only to a certain point on paper. I get people that are ecologists and degreed people that have only did work in books and online and build farms online. And so I get real people that would like to do this work hands-on. And so to give kids a curriculum that we offer, that I write myself, it's most empowering for them to come and do the work on the land.
I can tell. I've been in the house once when the kids was there and they look so excited. So
yes.
Being deeply involved in both agriculture and policy advocacy, what are some of the biggest challenges you face in those areas, and how do you balance the two? Because you have this vision of community, and then you also are trying to do this on a political level, and it's just like, how did that even happen? Like, how did I know you in your heart wanted to teach kids farming and adults farming, but then why did it become this big thing like this?
Well, it became big because it brought attention to the gaps that exist. So, for example, if you want to start off without resources and build a farm in a city, you will have to hire a plumber. You will need engineers and architects. You'll already start off in a deficit. So if I don't try to create programs, resources, spaces within the city, if you're going to use a city program, it has to be aware of urban farming and what it takes for it. You shouldn't be held to the same standard as something else or residential, or it needs to be special permits or special use areas for urban ag. The movement is not going away. So to create the policies, it was needed. I didn't want to scare people away with saying that it didn't exist, but to start it quietly and then to just, try and keep it as quiet as you can. But when you're creating spaces for others, you have to be loud and bold, and that's what this looks like. So system changing was not built for us, I would say. And so I can honestly tell you that I stay at the table until the systems change. So I will actively be advocating for the youth farmers that we're raising. These farmers are going to be ready and equipped to take over, and not even take over, but to work even in rural farms where our farmers are aging. So it's not just an urban ag thing. This is to where we can go out to any farm and harvest food. We did that with the Snap It Up initiative. We harvested 9,000 pounds of food with Shared Legacy Farms, and this food would have been compost. The barrier was having the people to go out and get it, because contractors are farmers too. And once they meet their contracts, they have plenty of food everywhere. You can ride down Hill Avenue and see food composting or I wouldn't say composting, deteriorating in the ground or in the soil because contracts are met.
Wow.
And your workers are gone for the season, and to mobilize the community to say our farmers need our help. Because food does not come from the store, it comes from farmers. And if our farmers don't have the help that they need, we are always going to be sourcing, outsourcing, and our money will always go outside of a place where we were positioned to be producers.
That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. Snap, 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 snap. Okay. So
Was it worth the wait?
It was definitely worth the wait. I feel like I got the interview of the season.
Okay, good.
Thank you. The smiles
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. I'm your host and producer, Monique. My executive producer is Chris Pfeiffer. Join me next time for another exciting episode of Soul of the Glass City podcast. For more information, if you have questions or comments, go to wgte.org/soul.
WGTE. Voices around us.